Hey, this is Rob with Travels with Dottie, and I have a story to tell about a health issue that I had this year and the research I did on it and how I finally resolved it. I was staying in Quartzsite for the winter season, and towards the end of January, I woke up one morning and I felt like I had maybe strained a muscle in my right leg. And my calf was sore a little bit, my quadricep was a little sore, and I'm like, I just need some rest. And the reality was things got a little bit worse every single day, no matter what I did. And it got to the point where I was in a lot of pain, and I was struggling and limping around, and my friends that were camping with me were really beginning to get concerned about me. I, have the Affordable Care Act insurance with like an $8,000 deductible, so I wasn't real anxious to go do anything really expensive. One thing I did do is there is a chiropractor in Quartzsite. I went to see him and I explained the symptoms, and I asked him point blank, do you have any idea what's going on with my leg? And he said, honestly, no, I have no idea. He did some adjustments on me, but nothing seemed to work. And towards the end of the season, I decided I need to get something done about this. This is getting worse. I was doing a lot of research online, like YouTube videos and Google searches, trying to find someone that would describe my exact symptoms. And I got a lot of things on YouTube that were close, but nothing really exactly matched it. I've had sciatica before, and the pain in my leg definitely felt like nerve pain. It felt like sciatica, but it was on the wrong side of my leg. So it was not the sciatic nerve, it was another nerve giving me problems. And so I decided, well, I'm gonna go to Pahrump, and it's a big enough area where I can maybe get some help. So I decided to first go to a physical therapist and pay out of pocket. And they looked at me and they immediately said, well, your problem is you have hip arthritis, and you're gonna have to have a hip replacement someday, but with therapy, physical therapy, we could possibly delay it for you. And I said, yeah, that'd be great. I'd like to delay it at least 2 years to when I turn 65 and get really decent medical insurance, Medicare, and hopefully a supplemental policy, or actually, now that I've researched it, a gap policy. So I did that physical therapy once a week for 6 weeks. And right away they gave me specific stretching exercises to do. At first I started doing that once a day, and then I graduated to twice a day. I was forcing myself to walk even though it was painful, and I was getting into the gym here and doing some weight exercises to build up some strength on my leg. And I had some success. I had what I would describe as incremental improvements, but I was still miserable. I was still limping around. I couldn't comfortably walk anywhere. And by this time, I was pretty much full-time using a cane. So towards the end of the physical therapy, I decided two things. One, I would do some deep tissue massage, which the jury's still out on what effect the deep tissue massage had. But the other thing I decided to do was to try another chiropractor and see if a different chiropractor may have a different view. So I did my research in Pahrump online, and there was a fairly new guy in town that the organization was called MedSpine. And here's his picture, and here's his name. And I made an appointment, I went to see him. And the first thing he did, that the first chiropractor didn't do, he took a full set of x-rays. And he did a full examination. I went back out to the waiting room. They waited for the x-rays to come through and him to take a look at them. Then he called me back in. He said, I know exactly what's happening to you. Said your problem is not hip arthritis. Although the x-ray shows a little arthritis in your hip, that is not the cause of what's happening to you. The cause of what's happening to you is very specifically spinal, and there are 3 different areas in your spine that are problematic right now. And when I looked at the x-ray with him, I could see an obvious sort of deformity in my neck, then another one midway down my spine, and then a third one in the lumbar, in the lower part of the spine. And he said that if you will give me 3 sessions a week, I think I can get you better. And he was very certain of his diagnosis and very certain he could help me. And I was skeptical, right? I'm looking at the x-rays, he's pointing this stuff out. Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but I know enough to know that everybody has some abnormalities in the spine. And after the last chiropractic experience I had, where 1, he didn't take x-rays, and 2, he was straightforward with me, but had no idea what was going on. This guy said he was sure, and decided to roll the dice, and I'm going to do it. And it was a little bit different from the first guy. The first guy would just put me on a regular table and kind of wrench my back. Or, they call it adjustments. I call it wrenching the back. But he has a special table he puts you on that adjusts, and he seems very careful about what he's doing. And then you go from the adjustment to kind of a sort of physical therapy room where one of the main things is there's a device that you lay down on a table, and it's a device that slightly stretches your spine. And he's very careful to say, this isn't about stretching the muscles in your back. This is about a very fine-tuned, gentle expansion of your spinal cord, not the muscles. So they start out at a very low setting, and week after week, we work our way up. And then there are a couple of exercises, I won't go into detail, but you're probably back there for an extra 10 minutes, and then you go on your way. He had me come in Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays for a month. Guys, after the 3rd session, I started noticing big differences. By the end of the 2nd week, I was back. I was able to walk a mile without any pain in the leg. And I started having pain in the back that I hadn't really had before or even noticed before. And when I reported that to him, he explained that you're taking pressure off the nerve that was bothering your leg, so we're relieving those symptoms in the leg, and what's left is your back was pretty crooked, and I'm trying to straighten it, and it's a little sore, but you're right on track as expected. And today I completed my 4th week and my final session with him. I'd keep doing it, but I was going to stay here. Heck, $45 a session 3 times a week for my mobility you know what? I just remembered another important thing. I was taking over-the-counter pain, acetaminophen, Tylenol, anything that would relieve me of the pain, and I was taking too much of it. I said, I know I can't do this indefinitely because this is really going to hurt my liver. And by the 2nd week of the chiropractic, I wasn't taking pain meds anymore. Every once in a while, in the middle of the night where I'm kind of stiff and sore and I'm not sleeping well, I'd take 1 or 2 acetaminophen, but that's rare. That's not every night. And it was nothing compared to the overload of pain medications, over-the-counter pain medications I was taking. It was so wonderful for me to be able to move freely again and be able to enjoy taking Dottie for a walk. I'm going to show you here in the box here. This is what I looked like when I was in Quartzsite. I was doing a little video where I was demonstrating the right and wrong way to use a cane because I got educated on that. And I think this little clip was the wrong way, but it gives you an idea of the movement restriction and and believe me, it was painful getting around. And telling you, breaking down camp and setting up camp was very painful for me to do. So it really restricted my ability to be a nomad. And now, this is today. This is how I feel, and this is how I can move today after a month with this chiropractor. I know that chiropractic is controversial, and if you go online and you research it, you see the word pseudoscience. And I told you I saw another chiropractor in Quartzsite. And years ago, when I was a young man, I had lower back problems. My back would go out every couple of years. And I went to at least one other chiropractor that didn't do much good for me. So I think that what I hit on is a chiropractor that has a very narrow and specific methodology that I can say absolutely worked for me, and I would highly recommend them. So that's pretty much all I have for this video. The end of it is for those of you that see this video in the future and decide you want to make an appointment there. This end part is just, showing you how to drive there. And if you're not interested in knowing how to get to MedSpine and Pahrump, don't stay for the end of the video. It's pretty boring, but it's there for those of you that want to get there, or for some reason are really interested in how to get there. But yeah, I'm going to put his website in the description. And I got to tell you, I'm really grateful to this guy. He's very enthusiastic. He was enthusiastic with me, and I've sat in the waiting room hearing him kind of through the door muffled with other patients. He is very enthusiastic and dedicated, and the man loves what he's doing. It's very clear. And the people that work for him are happy and helpful, and they seem to love what they're doing too. So I can't say enough good about this. Look what it did for me. All right, I hope everyone takes care. Okay, here's how you get to MedSpine. You're going to head on 160, the main drag, out of Pahrump, as if you're heading back to Las Vegas. So behind me is Preferred RV Resort, where I'm staying. The Walmart, the Home Depot, all that's behind me. I'm headed towards Las Vegas, and the first big landmark you're going to come across is the Saddle West RV Park and Casino. That's right here on the right. It's a couple miles out here. So if you're coming from like the middle of town around, the Basin and 160 area where Walmart is, you're going to want to leave about 10 minutes to get there, guaranteed on time, depending on traffic. I'm going to speed this up because it's pretty boring. Okay, here we are coming up on the last big landmark. That's the intersection with the traffic light, Homestead Road. See the Source billboard up there right on the corner there is a marijuana dispensary. Got the Maverick on the corner, Mobile at the other side. And we are very, very close. So I left Preferred RV Park about 10:17, and it's 10:25 right now. So you know how these kind of strip malls have big signs out front with all the businesses? You want to focus in on the biggest one coming up here on the right, because that's the one you want to turn in by. And when we we get close and make the turn, you'll see MedSpine has a sign right above at the Edward Jones. So here we are. Making our turn. And there is MedSpine. And I'm going to pull right in front here. Just a couple minutes early for my